What is it? First, let me take a drink of water. This is water. So why did God turn the water to blood? Very simple. What is the concept of water? Water is cold. It seeks its lowest level. It goes down. It's cold, etc. God is telling the Jewish people, turn water to blood. Turn the cold, cold feelings of Judaism that seeps to the lowest level and give it life. Give it blood. Make it warm. Make it hot. Make your Judaism Yahoo! True, the blood was a punishment to the Egyptians. But God was telling the Jewish people, I'm going to let you out of Egypt. Don't go towards Judaism coldly, nonchalantly. Go with excitement. Put some blood. Let the blood flow within your veins. For an example, everybody knows if water is sitting on top of your brain, if there's water, heaven forbid, on top of your brain, this is a terrible, terrible thing. It can cause strokes, it can cause diseases, etc. But if the blood comes to the brain, this is the life force. This is what keeps it warm. This is what keeps it in the proper condition. So when you have the blood on top of the brain, this is what the beauty is. So too also, a brain sometimes could think coolly about certain ideas, not getting so enjoyable and emotionally and get heated up with excitement from the intellect of Judaism. For an example, many people, they say to me, Rabbi, the high holidays, it's nice. The Seder, it was nice. I was with my family. We spoke over a little bit about, the Israelites or the Hebrews as they left the bondage of the Egyptians. And it was nice as my grandson or my son was able, my granddaughter was able to find the afikomen. Oh, it was so nice as they sang Dayenu. And we did the traditional Seder. This is water. This is cold. This is seeping to the lowest level. You should have been sitting at your Seder saying, Yahoo! God took me out of Egypt. Not only that, you should have looked at your children and said, look, children, this is not a historical account. This is who we are. There are many people that are in bondage. There are many people that are subjugated to the rottenness of whatever. We, the Jewish people, were there too. But God chose you from all the nations of the world. God took you out of Egypt. You know why? To give you excitement into your life. Give you a connection with God. But if you sit down by the Seder and you say, coolly, this is the story. Let's watch the movie, The Ten Commandments, so we can get a better idea of Judaism. This type of Judaism is boring. This type of Judaism is cold. It doesn't affect. But if there's some blood in it, if there's some life to it, this is the foundation of the first plague. To the Egyptians, it was a punishment. To the Jewish people, this was a lesson. My dear children, prepare to leave. Why? Because your life, which is cold and has sunk to the lowest level, I will give you life. I will give you blood. I will give you an exciting concept on how to connect to God. Not bad, huh? Let's go to the second question, the question about the frogs. Rabbi, where were you before Passover? We could have told this over to our Seder. Well, we'll get to that. Now comes the frogs. What is a frog? A frog is an animal that just comes into, sits by the lily pad. It's nice and cool. It sits in the sunshine. And if it gets a little bit too hot, it takes a dunk into the swimming pool, into the pond. If it gets a little hungry, all of a sudden the tongue goes zap, and it takes a little fly. And it's what a life. If it gets a little bit too cold in the water, it goes into the sunshine. It lives in the beautiful, serene. I'm telling you, it's like an air-conditioned environment. It's like a heating environment. The frog has the most beautiful life. Boy, wouldn't we love to be like frogs, to sit back and relax, and whenever we want to take a swim, and whenever we want to sing, just go rid it. This is the life of a frog. Here in America, the lifestyle of the frog is almost the same thing. We have air conditioning. If it gets too hot outside, and here in Southern California, there's a lot of heat waves, we turn on the air conditioning. And if it gets too hot, we're able to, thank God, be able to turn on the heat. Most of us were able to turn on the heat. We're a little bit hungry. In the olden days, we had to go and work hard to take some flour, wheat, and mush it up and make flour and make bread. Today, you just pop something into the microwave, zap, and you're able to eat. It's enjoyable to go out of your house. Who goes out of the house today? We're in California. We drive. If we want to, we don't even have to go shopping. You turn on the TV, you click, 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 and you have QVC and whatever the stations are to go and buy whatever you want. There's delivery. You don't even have to leave your home for banking. I'm telling you, the life is almost like a frog. Whatever you want to do, sit back, relax, and enjoy. That was a lifestyle of a frog. Would a frog go into something blazing hot against its own nature? Of course not. Would a frog jump into fire? Of course not. Would a frog jump into an oven which is cooking and baking for food? Of course not. It's against their nature. Comes God, commands the frogs and says to the frogs, go destroy Egypt, wreak havoc, go every single place. And that's what they did, even into the ovens. So God writes a praise about the frogs to listen to the command of the Almighty. What did the frogs do? They jumped into the ovens. What lesson can we learn from this? The exact same thing. We Jewish people have such a beautiful life. You want to feel involved in Judaism? Write a check to an organization, I'm involved. Send your children to Sunday school, I'm involved. I did my child a bar and bat mitzvah, I'm involved. But to go against your nature and kosher your home, what are you, crazy, mishuga? That's not normal. For me to go and say Friday night, instead of going to the movies with my family, I should go to synagogue for a service and then make a Shabbat meal. That's not normal. That's against the normal nature of the way of life here in America. Comes the Almighty and says, Jewish people, go against your nature, even if it means to go into something that would literally change your lifestyle. Because look at the frogs. They did the same thing. And think of it. The frogs are able to jump into... I'm not saying that we have to jump into ovens, heaven forbid. Well, I'm not saying we have to put our fingers into hot water. I'm not saying that we have to go and hurt ourselves. I'm saying simply, we Jewish people, as we assimilate, the assimilation is part of our nature. When you hear that the Almighty gave us a Torah, and there's a wonderful religion, some of us say to ourselves, I can't change. You know, for 25 years, this is the way I lived. I belong to a synagogue and a temple, and the rabbi didn't tell me too much about kosher, mezuzah, etc. You want me to jump to do the command just because God said so? Yeah, if the frog did it, you're a human being. You have an intellect. You understand the beauty of why God chose us to be a Jewish person. So no, act like the frog. So from the blood we learn, like we explained before, that God wants to take our approach to Judaism, which is very cool, and give some excitement. The frog is somebody who sits back and relaxes and enjoys the good life. Why should I all of a sudden give up my wanting to go to Spago's, Mustache Cafe, and all these other restaurants? I should keep kosher. Why should I? Be like a frog. Jump out of your assimilation. There I eat. Be the Jew that you are, and go and listen to the Almighty's commands. It's hard to do everything immediately, but start somewhere. Start with a mezuzah on your doors. Start by learning how to go to at least to a service on a Friday night or Shabbat morning. Put a charity box in your home and give tzedakah. Put some coins in every single day. But now comes the final question. Well, we have two more questions. There's two more questions left. Is, if God was in such total control, why did God make the Jewish people rush out of Egypt when we could have done it nice and smoothly? And the fourth and final question is, what lesson we can learn all of this, because is Passover really over? Come. Rabbi, you know, there's a famous song, young children, old children, come ye children, come to Rabbi Mentz and have a lot of fun. Kiss the mezuzah you'll find hanging on the door, and you'll learn about the Torah like you never did before. Rabbi, we never heard the plague of blood like this. Or Rabbi, we never heard the plague of frogs like this. Well, that's true. But with Rabbi Mentz, you'll learn the Torah from the essence, from the excitement, from the way it has been channeled down for thousands of years. Here in America, like I said before, America is a beautiful place. I love America. You can even ask my wife, when it comes to July 4th, I get goosebumps. I love America. I vote. I'm telling you, this is a great country. But that doesn't mean that the nonchalantness that we Jewish people came from across the river, and to say that America is different, and therefore we don't have to have the same excitement, and in our actions of Judaism, I'm here to tell you different.